Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a pretty deceptive ingredient. It's lurking in foods you probably think are good for you, undermining your health right from the inside, without you even knowing it.
Look, you've been putting in the work. You're that person who actually reads the labels. You walk right past the candy aisle, you say no to the sugary sodas. You're deliberately picking products that shout sugar-free or keto-friendly because you believe you're making the right call for your health.
But what if I told you that inside those very packages, there's an ingredient that could be far more damaging than the sugar you're so carefully trying to avoid? What if that healthy choice is actually the worst one you could make?
We are talking about a totally invisible enemy here. This stuff spikes your blood sugar way more than table sugar, but, and this is the crazy part, companies don't legally have to call it sugar on the label. It's just a cheap industrial filler that has absolutely zero nutritional value. Its only job is to bulk up food and make more money.
So you're probably asking, how on earth do they get away with this? Well, it all comes down to something I call the complex carb lie. It's a clever legal loophole that lets companies pass off what is basically pure, refined sugar as something else entirely.
And the culprit's name is Maltodextrin. Now, on paper, chemically, it's called a complex carbohydrate, since it's a chain of glucose molecules. But that name is so misleading. You see, unlike the strong, fibrous bonds in something like broccoli, the bonds holding maltodextrin together are super weak. They basically shatter the second they hit your digestive system, flooding your body with pure glucose.
To really get the picture, we've got to talk about the glycemic index. It's a simple scale, usually 0 to 100, that just measures how fast a food jacks up your blood sugar. Pure glucose is the top of the scale, a perfect 100.
Okay, now look at this. This is the kicker. Table sugar, the very thing you're avoiding, scores around a 75. That's a big spike for sure. But maltodextrin? It scores between 140 and 180. That's not just a little higher, it's in a totally different universe. It hits your bloodstream with the force of a tidal wave.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's staggering. We worry about table sugar causing a spike, but maltodextrin's impact is it's off the charts. This is the massive metabolic punch hiding in your so-called healthy snack.
The best way to think about it is like this. It's pure jet fuel for your blood. An instant, massive dump of sugar that your body is just not equipped to handle. There's nothing complex about that.
So if it acts just like sugar, but worse, where does this stuff even come from? Well, once you see the industrial process behind it, you'll realize it's less of a food and more of a chemical filler.
It all starts with something called dent corn. This isn't the corn on the cob you eat. It's an industrial-grade GMO crop. They take this corn and put it through a really harsh chemical bath, using industrial agents to strip it all the way down to its final form, a fine, tasteless, white powder.
So what kind of chemicals are we talking about? Well, for starters, sodium hypochlorite, which you probably know as bleach. Then there's vinyl acetate, a possible human carcinogen, and sodium trimethophosphate, which has been linked to hardening arteries. Come on, these aren't ingredients, they're industrial processing agents.
How is any of this legal? Well, it falls under an FDA loophole called GRAS. It stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. And what this often means is the food industry gets to regulate itself, doing their own safety studies without needing a truly independent review. So we know what it is and how it's made. Now let's talk about what actually happens when this stuff gets inside your body. Because really, it's a metabolic disaster.
The second that jet fuel hits your blood, your pancreas just panics. It releases a huge wave of insulin to get that toxic level of sugar out of your bloodstream immediately. So where does the sugar go? It gets shoved into your liver, contributing to fatty liver disease, and it gets stored as that really dangerous visceral fat, the deep fat that wraps around your organs. Do this over and over, and your cells just get numb to the insulin. That's insulin resistance, and it's a primary driver of so many chronic diseases.
But wait, it actually gets worse. Maltodextrin is almost always found in processed snacks that are baked or fried with those cheap industrial seed oils. And when you combine this refined starch with high heat and bad oils, you create these toxic compounds called aldehydes. Now, to give you some perspective, aldehydes are the exact same toxic byproduct that your body creates when it metabolizes alcohol. They're what cause hangovers. So you're essentially getting hangover-level cellular damage without ever having a single drink.
Okay, I know this all sounds really grim, but here's the good news. You can absolutely protect yourself.
The secret isn't on the front of the box with all those flashy marketing claims. Nope. It's hidden away in the fine print.
The most important thing you can possibly do is just ignore the front of the package. All those words, sugar-free, gluten-free, keto-friendly, they're often just distractions. The only place you'll find the truth is the ingredient list on the back.
And here's what you're looking for. It's simple. If you see maltodextrin, modified food starch, modified cornstarch, or dextrose on that label, just put it back on the shelf. That one simple rule can save you from a whole world of hidden sugars and industrial junk.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. What's really hiding in your food? The marketing is built to confuse you, but that ingredient list, it never lies. It's time we all started reading it. At the end of the day, your most powerful tool is knowledge. When you understand what these things are, you have the power to say no and take back control of your health.
If this explainer opened your eyes, make sure you subscribe for more truths about what's really in our food. Hit that like button to help this information spread, and please, share this with someone you know who's always buying sugar-free stuff. Now, I want you to go check your pantry. Come back here and comment below at the most surprising thing you find with these ingredients. Thanks for tuning in.